Hello, my name is Veronica, aka Vespertilio. I am an Italian comic book author, tarot and oracle deck creator, and your spooky art teacher.
It's me again, yours truly.
Recently, I've shared with you the halfway through sketchbook tour of this sketchbook right here. In that video, I actually showed you some of the pages from my previous sketchbook, which is this one right here. I asked you if you would have been interested in having a full sketchbook tour of this sketchbook right here, and your answer was very enthusiastic, so that's what we're going to do today. The halfway through sketchbook tour of this sketchbook was already pretty long, so I'm going to try my best to keep this as short as possible. And with that said, let's get to the video. So there we are with this other sketchbook tour. This time it's going to be a complete sketchbook tour. This is my previous sketchbook. This is a Moleskine art collection. I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible, and we're starting very strong here because this is the first thing I did on this sketchbook. This is not even the first page. This is like the inside of the cover. I wanted to create something special, and I definitely did. This is one of the pieces I am most proud of, and I've made prints about this, I made pins about this, I made stickers about this ex libris part. I really love this first spread. This is the page where you should put your information. As you can see here, I kind of went around the Moleskine logo. This might be my favorite page of the whole sketchbook, which is insane. So then I skipped this page because it's glued, and I started here. This was a time where I was starting to study occult topics. Is about the law as above, so below. I wrote it in Latin right here. I made Vespertilio hanging upside down, but she's not like hanging as a bat. She's hanging because she's tied to this web right here. This is the very first time I drew one of my other original characters, which is Gorgo. Here she still was called Gorgona, but it stayed in this page basically. She's not Medusa, she's a Gorgon, and so she has snakes for hair. Here I have this spread. This is a drawing about my coven of witches, which is made by Machijan, Vespertilio, and Gorgo. Here you can see that there are also other witches running in the circle, and this was actually reprised in this other illustration I made later. This is a much smaller print version of that piece because that is an A4 piece. This is called The Walnut Tree, and it is inspired by the story of the witches of Benevento. Here there are all those witches and magical creatures running in circle around the walnut tree, and here it is reprised what is happening here. So we have Gorgo, we have Vespertilio, and we have little Machijan right here. While I was doing my research on Gorgons, I noticed that not only they were pictured with snakes for hair, but they also had wings on their head. And since Vespertilio has bat wings on her head, I thought it would be cool to have one of her best friends also have wings on her head. And I loved this idea of contrast between the snakes and like those white angel wings on her head. I don't know if I did it correctly, but this should say Gorgo in Greek, if I have not made a mistake. But yeah, I made this short comic of basically hair getting hair wings on her head. I really love this panel right here. This is also one of my favorite things on this sketchbook and one of my favorite things I've ever drawn basically. So this also relates to my occult studies. I started looking into King Solomon's books basically. So these were demons from the Ars Goetia, from the Lesser Key of Solomon, and those characters have been reprised many times in a lot of different media. When I drew those characters, I just went with their description in the Ars Goetia, and so I made Stolas, I made Caim, and I made Malphas with Vespertilio of course. And so yeah, I really like this piece also, it's really cute. Moving on, this is a piece, I believe I made this piece for Mabon, which is a pagan festival for the autumn equinox. Of course, there is a pumpkin, but I also included some bats because, you know, I love bats, and there's Vespertilio, of course, and then I added this cornucopia just to mark the fact that this was made for that particular celebration. This was, I think, an alternative version. Here you can still see the cornucopia with the pumpkin right here, but here we have also Machijan holding this light. I really love how I rendered this piece. And this was also again for the autumn equinox, but this was mainly to pay homage to the myth of Persephone, or Proserpina as called in Roman mythology. The pomegranate is a fruit associated with that goddess, and I just made this piece to celebrate that. So this was pretty random. My sister shared with me those incredibly cute furry sheep. I just wanted to draw them, and as an excuse I put Vespertilio with them. Here I was kind of trying to embrace the autumny feeling. I had just purchased this cup, and in this other page I have this piece. I don't remember at all what was the concept for this. Fun fact about this piece is that I really struggled with this in the background right here. The reason why it now has this kind of interesting texture, it's because I couldn't wrap my head around what to use to do this background, and so I used multiple markers on top of each other, and in the end this is what I achieved, and I ended up really liking this. So this is a little piece about transformation. So I made Vespertilio inside a cocoon. I started looking into symbolism, and so yeah, I made this piece for that. I believe I made this for the lunar eclipse we had last year. I really like how this turned out. I really love how I rendered this. This was so random, honestly. I don't remember what was the concept exactly. I think I just wanted to draw something and I went with this. So here I actually was kind of lacking confidence in my art, and I started noticing that my pieces were lacking backgrounds or sceneries. And so I made this piece first, I believe, where I just tried to make a scenery from scratch. And so I decided to go with a cemetery because those are kind of fun to do. So I'm really pleased with how this turned out. And then I ended up making this piece. I don't know if you knew this or if I ever told you this, but like in my mind, she has a special power, and one of the things she can do is she can become very, very small, and that's why sometimes I draw her under flowers or playing on plants. It's not like those things are giant. She can become very, very little, basically. So yeah. Those two were also very random. This was just like an excuse to draw a book, and I made, of course, Vespertilio on top of that. This was actually from a reference I found on Pinterest of this skeleton shoot from this particular angle. And so I decided I wanted to draw Vespertilio kind of crawling out of the skull like she was a hermit crab. Fun fact, I just had to Google that up because instead of hermit crab, I was about to say pilgrim crab. This was also a very random spread. I actually had no idea what to draw here. I have Vespertilio with Machijan on top of a broom, and this piece right here, I believe I was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, but I don't remember honestly, for this part right here, I mean. And this was made just so randomly, but this ended up being in one of my most viral Instagram reels. This was made for a video about my inking process. It was a very short video, of course, because it was meant for Instagram. In that video, I kind of tried to break down my inking process. I have no idea what this was for. I remember this sketch and this one, what those were for, even though I never finished those. But this one right here, this horse with the bat wings, I have no idea why I was drawing this. This spread, oh my god, I love this spread so much. I love the concept, I love how I rendered the bat and this little blackbird right here. I love how I made her hair here. And feeling like you're losing your head, it's so silly. But I really love this, and I think this didn't get the hype I hoped for, but yes, it's another of my absolute favorite pages from this sketchbook. This piece right here could have been way better, but I actually worked not very well with values here. I think you can barely see the ends coming out from this black mirror. Also here, it's kind of messy. I didn't work very well with values, as I said. This is how it turned out. Also, hair pose is not very flattering here. I really love this one. These were a couple of ballet dancers, and Vespertilio was the male dancer and Mietitore was the female dancer. But I switched the roles because I thought the poses would look better with the characters like this, actually. And I really still love this piece. So this is so cute. At some point I started having little, I don't want to say tea parties because they weren't really parties, but we would have tea dates with my sister and girlfriends. And at some point I decided I wanted to kind of try to make a menu for our tea dates, and so that they could pick which tea they wanted to drink. But I actually ended up not being able to make this little project come true because we are all so incredibly busy. So it might be one of my fall projects. Here I started designing decorations for my Christmas tree, and I can actually show you. So this is what they ended up looking like. Yeah, basically. This was the first one I made, which was Gorgo inside a crystal ball. I really like I made the little snake right here for the holder, basically. Right here I made this, like, I don't know how it's called in English, but I guess teardrop could be a right word. A crystal looking decoration, but inside this time was Vespertilio. This was not related, this was just another reference of two ballet dancers. And again, I think this time too, I switched the male dancer with the female dancer. And so this would have been the female dancer that ended up being Mietitore, and the male dancer ended up being Vespertilio. Here we have more Christmas decorations. So here we have Vespertilio as Krampus. That's why she doesn't have the little bat wings on her head, but she has those devil horns. And in her basket right here, we have other characters. There's her brother Vespertilio, there is Gorgo, there is Mietitore, and there is also Machijan. She's also wearing devil horns, and I also made her with goat feet. Then right here, I really hope I can pronounce it right, but this would be Marie-Louise. I have no idea how that is pronounced, but I think Marie-Louise should be the right one. Please tell me. I probably said it wrong. But yeah, I love this folk tale, so I wanted to include it in my Christmas decorations. We have another little kind of funny looking cute Krampus here. Here is another Machijan, but she's dressed as La Befana, which is a Christmas witch we have here in Italy. And while Santa comes on Christmas Day, La Befana comes on the night of the Epiphany. Since Machijan is a magician, a witch, I wanted to portray her as La Befana. And then, oh my god, this is so fun. And this was also for my Christmas decoration. Those are actually me and my sister. So this is a coquette rat, and this is a girl bat. This is us. Here I have the first version of me and my sister, but I ended up liking way more this one. And here I also have the pattern I created and that I used many times. I think I also used it at the end of my videos sometimes, and it is also at the back of my Oracle deck cards. This is the back of my Oracle cards, and I had it made with this pattern right here. And then this was a little drawing for Yule, which is a pagan festival celebrating the winter solstice. And here I used a lot of things associated with Yule and with like Christmas time in general. And I portrayed basically again my little coven of characters. So there is Gorgo right here with candles held by her snakes, and here we have Vespertilio that is very sweetly kissing on the head. Machijan right here, who's also holding a candle. This is so sweet. I really love this piece. And yeah, this was made to celebrate Yule. Moving on, we're starting with the pieces that have been made for this YouTube channel. So all those drawings, like these two and these two also and these two right here, were all made for the tips about studying anatomy video I made. It was one of my first videos after my YouTube comeback. In the video, all those sketches were like this one and like these ones right here, also this one. They were all pencil sketches, but then, as I said, I like to come back and finish my pieces with ink. And I also finished this one, and I actually decided to add mietitore behind her, and so it really made it look more finished. This has a giant patch on it, and I actually ended up also hating this one, and I made another one, and I actually really like how this turned out. And this was made from a reference that I took myself. It was a picture of myself wearing this skirt I got thrifting, and so yeah, those were some sketches I made for some outfit of the day videos, and those were all outfits I wore. And I think you can find all these short videos in my YouTube shorts as well in my Instagram reels. Here we have another one, and this was me designing a little bat for one of my friends' tattoos. You can see the full process about this drawing in my first video about inspiration. I will leave the links to all those previous videos I'm quoting in this one in the description below, so if you want you can check them out and see some of the art processes behind the pages of this sketchbook. This is another one of my favorite pages, and I think one of my favorite drawings of all time. I really love this piece. I really love how it looks like it's glowing. I really love it. And I also really like how Vespertilio looks in this piece right here. This was another drawing for an outfit of the day video. So this is one of two drawings. This is more of like a sketch, while this is more complete, about a purchase I made. This was a little splurge, if I have to be honest, and it is a lace vampire cape basically. I think you can also see this in one of my YouTube shorts or in one of my Instagram reels, and I made two sketches about it. And this is another like quick sketch I made with Vespertilio wearing an outfit I saw on Pinterest. This is a first sketch that then turned into this piece right here, and here we have other silly sketches. This is another drawing of Vespertilio wearing something I saw on Pinterest, while this was another drawing for an outfit of the day video. So this was an outfit I wore. You might remember this. This is from the artist name video, and I made this illustration to use as the header of this YouTube channel, so you might recognize this piece from that. And I really love this piece. I really like it. Those two pieces, along with this one right here, all three were made for a collaboration I made with Lux Inferno for Magic Markings, which was a collaboration about some makeup products, and I have created some makeup looks with their products, and alongside with the looks I would create inspired drawings basically. This is very dear and special to me, but I have to explain this to you. So this is like a thought I had that I called the skeleton, because at some point here on YouTube, someone said that my art was very beautiful, but it was a pity that I would draw such negative things. And I remember it was something about a drawing I made that included a skeleton, I believe. And that made me kind of hungry, if I have to be honest, because I don't think my art is negative. I think it's spooky, but I actually think most of my pieces are very sweet. I would say they are even comfy, if I have to be honest. Some of them are even heartwarming to me. I like to romanticize spooky stuff. I think that is something you all noticed. And that doesn't mean I like to romanticize negative things. And so I started thinking about it, and I wrote this thought, and I'll try to translate it to you now. Do you believe in a God? Then think that God of yours has created you with a skeleton that protects your organs and holds your body. That skeleton is what we own that's most close to our soul on earth. It is always and since forever inside and part of us. And even after we've left this world, the skeleton stays a little longer. Sometimes it seems like it stays forever. Think about it. The metal skeleton that you can find inside some sculptures and some puppets, isn't that called soul? So this last part I have to explain. In Italian, the skeleton inside some statues and puppets, it is called anima. And this is the word for soul. So it's not called skeleton, it's actually called soul. Something that is a skeleton, we actually call it a soul in Italian. And that really makes this whole matter look like it does make sense. So that a skeleton, which is something considered so morbid and so spooky, and some people even consider it like a negative image, it is something that it is actually the most tangible thing we have that looks like a soul, which is something really not tangible and so sacred and so holy. So yeah, that was a thought I had about it, and I made like a whole drawing about this concept. This was for a collaboration I made with Vista Atelier, which is an Italian brand of eyewear, and they made these glasses with prescription for me to wear, and I had to create a video where I talked about their product, and then it was really my pleasure, if I have to be honest, to create this piece for them, because the glasses are absolutely amazing. They are handmade, the quality is insane, and this model is called Taranto, like the town here in Italy. But I have to show you those glasses and you have to tell me what they look like. So you might have seen me wearing those glasses many times in my vlogs. You can't tell me those aren't butt glasses. Those are so vespertilio coded, is insane. And I saw them in their shop and I approached the owner just to tell them that they absolutely looked great. He really appreciated me appreciating this model because it's kind of unusual actually. I ended up telling them that I was an artist and that I had my Instagram account, etc. And they asked me if I wanted to promote their glasses. And so that was like great because this was love at first sight. Those are really, really high quality. I am the kind of person that really throws stuff around. So the fact that those are still in pristine condition says a lot about the quality of those glasses, okay? And I love them so much. Moving on. So this was a sketch I ended up not using for this concept right here. This was still for my collaboration with Lux Inferno and Magic Markings. This was the sketch for my painting Birth of V. I ended up finishing this up because I really loved this sketch, and so I ended up inking it. And then moving on, here we have the sketch that I also inked for another painting of mine, which is Making Art is Like Breaking Bread with the Dead. And in my final painting, the pose is actually different from this one. The final one looks a bit more solemn, even though it's quite a simple concept. Here is a little bat. You can see the full process in my very honest art process video. This is the drawing we made from scratch. In that video, we started from the search for inspiration and we went all the way through the art process of this piece. This is another of my favorite pages from this sketchbook. This was just a sketch of a tree I found in one of my walks. And as you can see in this sketchbook right here, I used to draw everything pencil first. If you've not seen my previous sketchbook tour, in my newest sketchbook I am trying a different approach and I'm drawing directly with pen, which is something that really ended up improving my art process and my artistic expression by now. But at this point I still was relying on pencil first. This right here, I really love this one, and this is my drawing interpretation somehow of the Saturn interlude from the last Ariana Grande album. If you're a regular, you might remember this drawing from my How to Deal with Failure video. I think this piece right here also is shown in that video. And yeah, so this is the piece about the Hanged One card from Tarot. And this tree right here, I actually used the reference for this, and this is a tree we saw. It was me, my friend Alberto, which is also my personal trainer, and my friend Ilaria. We were all skating at this park, which is not very close to my house, but it's still in my town. And we saw this tree that looked like it had a bunch of eyes on its bark. And so yeah, I ended up using it as a reference for this piece. This is very random. I think this was the time where I started eating fruits in my breakfast, and yeah, I simply drew Vespertilio in a cake as a fruit cake bat. And this is the last piece from this sketchbook, and I have to be honest, this had a concept. This had a very specific idea that I can't remember. I have no idea why I've drawn this. Maybe I saw the flower on Pinterest. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember why I've drawn this. But yeah, it is the last piece from this sketchbook. After this, we have a bunch of tests, and I started this sketchbook on September 1st, 2023, and I finished this sketchbook on March 2nd, 2024. So it was 6 months. And yeah, this is the complete sketchbook tour for this sketchbook right here. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked this tour of my previous sketchbook. I know some things, especially my approach to drawing and sketching and to my artistic expression in general, have changed since the end of this sketchbook right here, and this somehow has a very different approach, but I'm still very proud of this previous sketchbook, and I'm really happy of how this current one is coming out. So I'm really looking forward to have a tour of the second half of this sketchbook. With that said, if you have any suggestions or requests for future videos, please feel free to leave them in a comment section below. If you enjoyed spending some time with me, feel free to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Also, if you like my content and would like to support my art, my very first tarot deck, Vespertaro, is now available for purchase, and you can get it at the link in my description. At the moment, due to personal matters and some technical issues, my digitalized sketchbook is taking a summer break, but if you'd like to get updates on my next update, feel free to join my newsletter at the link in my description. If you stayed till this point, thank you very much. I will see you very soon with more art videos. In the meantime, let's make art. Bye.